Hi, church. It's the Litwillers. John asked us to share a little bit about what has been happening in our lives, really over the last couple of weeks, but really it started about a year ago. So, about a year ago, we brought Adeline, our fourth child, home from the hospital, who was a surprise. And during that time in pregnancy, we found out that Ashley was going to have another heart surgery. Hopefully in the next few years, but we're going to have some tests leading up to that. And I'll let Ashley describe what we learned and found out.
So I was born with a congenital heart defect, which affected my aortic valve. I had my first surgery at about a month, and then my second surgery was 9 years ago, just after our first daughter was born. And so we had our three babies, and we weren't supposed to have any more, and the Lord had other plans and gave us our fourth baby, Adeline. And so through that pregnancy, they kept a close eye on me, watched my heart closely, and the goal was to make it to 32 weeks, and she ended up making it to 37 before we had her. And so then after I had the baby, they watched things closely, and things looked really good. The doctor said at one point of time, maybe 3 to 5 more years before I had to have the surgery. And so the baby was born in April, and in November I went in for a test that we assumed was just to double check and make sure everything was as good as it looked. And that was sort of the real beginning of this journey for us. That test was in November, and they told us that we would need to be having surgery in the next 2 to 4 months, 6 at the most. And so we went ahead and scheduled the surgery for February. It was scheduled for the end of February, and so I'm a planner, and so I started making all of my plans. We homeschool, and so I got all of our curriculum ready. I had all the kids' clothes packed for that date in February, and I went into the hospital on a Monday. The surgery was scheduled for Tuesday, and went to my surgical consult and was told that the surgery was being postponed. And so, we've been through a few storms in our marriage, and that's how, when we were told about the surgery, we kept telling ourselves this is a storm, and we have learned that the Lord uses these storms to reveal so much about himself, to reveal sin in our lives. And so that was the first time that we felt like the Lord was really revealing, using all of this to reveal that sin in our lives. And for me, I'm such a planner, and the Lord was definitely saying, my ways are not your ways. You need to repent of this intense need to be in control. And so the surgery ended up being postponed twice. And so during that time, I just wrestled a lot with how I needed to be in control, and the Lord was saying that he was in control and that his plans were better than our plans. And something that we found is during, with these storms that you go through in life, a lot of times you can look back years later and see, oh, that's how the Lord was working. That's where we saw his fingerprints in this. And the blessing about everything that we've been through this past month is that we can say in the middle of the storm, this is where we have seen the Lord work. And even with postponing the surgery twice, we definitely can look back and say, oh, this is where we can see the Lord's goodness in our lives through having the surgery postponed. So we ended up having the surgery 3 weeks after it was initially scheduled, which happened to be right at the beginning of the whole coronavirus lockdown. I think the schools were shut down the Friday before the surgery on Tuesday, and so that whole weekend we didn't know if the surgery would still be happening or if it would be postponed again, and we kept questioning if it's postponed, how long will it be? That was scary for us because I was becoming symptomatic. It's hard for me to go up and downstairs. Different things were harder for me, and I just worried, how long was this pandemic going to last? What would I be like, if they weren't able to do the surgery? How would I be feeling when they were finally able to do it? So that weekend, it was a mess after the schools were shut down, and just not knowing what the week would bring. Was I preparing to be on lockdown with my kids indefinitely? Was I preparing to send them off to their grandparents indefinitely? So then Monday, we got the phone call that they were going to go ahead and proceed with surgery. And we also found out that Unity Point in Peoria, which I had my surgery at St. Francis, but Unity Point was not allowing any visitors, including spouses at their hospital, and we knew that there was a possibility that that would happen at OSF, but we were very thankful that it wasn't happening yet. Ryan was able to be there the day of the surgery. So we made it through surgery. He was able to be there with me for a few days, and then they did kick him out, and so I was there by myself. But the Lord used that too. I was able, being there without him, the nurses and doctors, and everybody there was so good to come in and keep me company, and I was able to talk with them about my faith, about my family. We had so many good conversations with the staff that was there. So it wasn't without complications. I did have some complications. I ended up with a pacemaker. But after 12 days, I was released on a Saturday. And then on Thursday, Ryan got an email from his boss.
Saying that I needed to give him a call at 3:30 to be on a call with him and my general manager. I called to say, hey, what's this about? They asked me if I could come in, and I said, my wife just came home from heart surgery. I really should avoid, with all of the coronavirus out there, I really need to avoid contact if at all possible. Through a phone call then later that day, I was let go from my job due to just budget cuts for the whole coronavirus, COVID-19 thing. And that was difficult. More so just because in the midst of everything, here we are now, open heart surgery recovery, balancing what it looks like with me being home and helping Ashley recover, figuring out what to do with our children, and now unemployment on top of that. So it was a really challenging time, a really hard time emotionally, I think, for Ashley and for myself, of just trying to figure that all out. But kind of how Ashley had mentioned of being able to see how God works in your life, we were able to see that in some of the things that had happened at my employer leading up to it, of just some of the frustrations of working at a larger company. Led me to put some feelers out to see what else was out there in the job market. And I'd actually already been able to get another job lined up already through the midst of all this. So a blessing in all of this was I have another job waiting for me once people can resume working again. The nice thing about it is looking at all of this in God's timing. Of surgery had been postponed, and now there's this big pandemic, and the world is in a mess, it seems. And yet, in God's goodness, I'm able to be with Ashley now during her recovery. I'm able to spend time with my kids. I'm able to take her to her doctor's appointments and do the things I might have had to take off work for, or use up vacation time for, or do anything else. Whereas now, the gift of unemployment is I have nothing to do or anywhere to go. So that has been, again, an unforeseen blessing in the midst of all of this. Of yes, it's chaotic, and I know I'm not the only one that is unemployed right now. But it is nice to know that at least it happened at a time where I was able to help take care of Ashley.
So one of probably my biggest fear in life was not open heart surgery or anything along those lines, but would be Ryan losing his job. He has been the sole income for the past almost 10 years, and yeah, if you would have asked me what my biggest fear was, it definitely would have been Ryan losing his job. I'm an Enneagram 6 for anybody who follows that, and so my basic need is for security, and that rings very true for me. But when we found out about his job loss, the Lord immediately brought Psalms 20 verse 7 and 8 to mind, and it says, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. They collapse and fail, but we rise and stand upright." And so, I can be so tempted to trust in our savings account or to trust in this other job that he has lined up. But I feel like the Lord has been constantly saying to me, don't trust in those things, trust in me. He's just revealed how much he loves us through this, and that we're not alone. Obviously, we've seen him work in so many ways in this past month. But more than anything, just in revealing our sin and leading us to repentance, revealing my sin of wanting to trust in our material possessions instead of who he is and what he has for us.
And for me, it's really been the revealing of, I'm an only child. I'm an Enneagram 7. An extroverted Enneagram 7. I like to be around people. I'm very inwardly focused. It's something that we have struggled with in our marriage for the whole time. And something where, for me, that God has really just revealed the impact of that sin and my selfishness in my life, of what it means to truly care for other people, and giving all of myself to Ashley and her recovery and our kids, and how detrimental that truly has been in not only our marriage, but in parenting and all of it, and how the jobs and all of that, none of it really matters if I'm not able to serve the people that I love. And I feel like God has really revealed my sin and how much I need to be rescued from that and repent of it, and to know that there's only through God's grace to be able to move forward in that. And another verse that we had too that applied really well to Ashley and some of the things that she was going through was 1 Corinthians 4:16-18. It says, "So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal." And again, this is our story. This is kind of what's been happening to us the last couple of weeks, really for the last year. It's kind of always been in the background, became very prominent in the midst of a global pandemic, with everything. But really, it's been amazing to see God's work in our lives, not only in our internally of the sin that's been revealed in our lives, but then also in seeing the moving of God's church in our lives, and seeing how real the hands and feet of the church are during this time. The phone calls, the text, the people that were praying for us, who let us know that they are praying for us, the meals. A special thank you to the Charis women group, who raised money to get our kids some toys, as silly as that seems, but being cooped up and a mom that can't do anything, to get those Kiwi boxes was time that we were able to spend as a family, doing a simple activity at the table that made us feel like a family again. And ultimately, I don't think we could say thank you enough in all of this, of just the support, the prayers, all of it has just been phenomenal. So that's a little bit of our story. Thanks.
Thanks for letting us share.